Today we're taking a look at the 2016 Nissan Altima SR. So let's go ahead and go take a look. Now, just looking at it from the outside, the 2016 Nissan Altima SR actually does look quite different from the rest of the Altimas in the lineup. Now, starting up here in the front, the Nissan SR is the only model that's going to offer darkened headlights. So the headlight housing actually looks a little bit darkened. So it makes it look a little bit meaner, a whole lot more aggressive, and of course a lot sportier. Now, the Nissan Altima SR is labeled as kind of in the middle between a 2.5S and a 2.5 SV. It is, although it does not come before the SV, so it's a little bit complicated in the sense that it works. It's not a downgrade from a Nissan Altima SV, but it is an upgrade from the 2.5S. So the SV and the SR are in very similar price ranges. But now what the Nissan Altima SR adds in comparison to the 2.5S is now on the bottom here. You do have fog lights, but they do more than just be fog lights. So as you're noticing right now, since the vehicle is on, those fog lights are actually on as well. They're actually daytime running lights on the Nissan Altima. So that is something that's standard now on some of the from 2.5 SR and up. You do get standard daytime running lights in the form of those little fog lights there. Now, coming around here to the side of the vehicle, these wheels are actually unique to SR models only. So the 3.5 SR and 2.5 SR that we're driving in right now are going to feature these nice 18-inch sport alloy wheels. Now, these wheels differ in a few things. So aside from just being a different wheel design and looking a little bit more aggressive and a whole lot nicer than the standard 2.5 SV wheels and the other optional wheels available, these actually do have wider tires for better handling and more grip. So again, it doesn't just stop at design. That the Nissan Altima SR performance package, what you can say, that it stops actually does a quite big of a difference. So the suspension has changed, the tires are wider, the overall appearance of the vehicle has actually changed a lot as well. So we're gonna get into the suspension in a little bit, just to see what has changed overall. But as you can see, it's definitely one of the more attractive models that the Nissan Altima comes in. Now, coming around here to the back, you can see that the SR actually offers a spoiler. So again, this is particular only to the SR. So yes, you can option out a spoiler on some of the other models, but the design of the spoiler is going to be specific only to the SR trim level, is what we're seeing right now. And most Altimas that are going to come off of the lot are only going to have the only ones that are going to have a spoiler are going to be the SR model. So for the most part, you might see a couple, but most of the cars with spoilers are going to be the SR model. Now, it is a functional spoiler, so again, not only does it appeal to the sportiness of the car, but actually does do something for the aerodynamics, makes the vehicle actually flow a little bit nicer through the air and get, at the same time, better performance. So again, this spoiler is not just there just to be there on the SR. It actually does serve a purpose on the SR model. Now, here in the back, on the bottom of the vehicle, you have a rear diffuser, just adding to, again, the appearance of the vehicle. Dual exhaust as well on both of the cars. So just gonna take a quick look on the outside overall of the vehicle. Now, again, since I mentioned the suspension earlier, the suspension on the Nissan Altima 2016 is a bespoke suspension, so it's a whole lot definitely more sportier. The struts of the vehicle have also been tuned a little bit. Now both the front and rear stabilizer bars have actually been upgraded as well. So they've both been made a little bit larger. So I'm going to be showing you how that looks right now. So we're going to be going under the engine and kind of being able to take a little bit better look at that. So again, suspension has changed. The stabilizer bars have, of course, changed. The dampeners, of course, have been tuned a little bit more. And this is just some of the performance features that are again offered in the SR. So we are going to notice a little bit changing once we go onto the inside and actually drive the vehicle, take a look at the engine. Now, when keeping along with like the suspension changes and everything, the steering has changed as well. So so on every single model, the SSV for 2016, the steering has actually been redone. So it feels a little bit firmer. Definitely improves the sportiness of the vehicle, so it's going to handle a little bit different. Now, specific to the SR only, it's been even more upgraded. So the SR models actually do feature a kind of like a grippier wheel, so it's a little bit harder to turn. So do notice that it's going to be a little bit more weighty. But again, that is because this is a sporty model. It's not so much for like just comfortable cruising. So something to pay attention there. Now, one package that is available that this vehicle does not have is the 2.5 SR LED package. So what that's going to add is pretty evident in the name. It's going to add daytime running lights here in the front. So here it actually has the housing for the LED lights, but on the 2.5 SR without the package, it does not actually offer that. So we're going to be taking a look at that when it becomes available, so you guys can see what the difference is with the 2.5 SR LED package. It actually does add a little bit more to the attractiveness of the car, and definitely nice to have. So Nissan leaves it optional for you if you want to add it or not. Now when it becomes available again, we're going to be taking a look at that. So now let's go take a look under the hood and observe some of the notable changes on 2016 Nissan Altima SR. Now under the hood, as you can see, the engine, if it doesn't look like there's been too many changes, that's because it's pretty much the same engine from 2015. So the engine itself is still a 2.5 liter engine. Again, what has changed is the stabilizer bar have a little bit larger both in the front and the rear. Now it's a little bit hard to tell here, but again, moving on from that, overall engine output has remained the same. So for the 2.5 liter, which is what we're looking at right now, is 182 horsepower, and torque has remained the same as well. Now what has changed in the engine is the transmission. Now for 2015, the Nissan Altima got a D-step transmission. Now for 2016, that same CVT transmission, it's still incorporating some of the D-step logic, but for 2016 it has actually been revised a whole bunch. So it actually drives quite a bit different. So even though the overall engine output has remained the same on the 2016 Altima, the drive is going to be completely different. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the under the hood view. We're going to go on the inside, kind of take a look at what changes on the SR, and then we're going to take it for a quick drive and really get a feel what changed for 2016. So as soon as we open the door in the 2016 Nissan Altima SR, you're going to start to notice a couple changes specific only to the SR model. So no other model is going to feature these changes here, but even starting at something like the door panel, what you do notice here is you have a nice blue stitching here on the leather side. So again, it's just emphasizing the sportiness of the vehicle. You're going to see a lot of blue trim everywhere in the car. Now, one thing to note is that these seats are again specific only to the SR. So they've been upgraded from the 2.5S and the SV models. None of them actually feature this seat. So the only trim level that does feature this is going to be an SR. So the cloth in this one is kind of actually upgraded so to improve the overall holding you in your place when you're going into a turn really fast. So again, they're bolstered a little bit different. Now here on the sides of all the 2.5 SR, they all have, it's kind of a mixture between leather and cloth. So you have this nice soft touch leather here at the top, and then in the middle you actually have cloth seating. So you have leather, which makes it look a little bit nicer, so again increasing the appeal of the car. And in the middle you're gonna have cloth just to hold you in place when you're going through a turn. So now hopping inside of the car, you're gonna start to notice overall it's not too many more aesthetic change besides just, again, like I'm saying, the blue stitching overall. But what you do notice is different the steering wheel is actually leather wrapped. So it's an upgrade from the 2.5S, which does not have a leather wrapped steering wheel. This again, of course, is wrapped in leather, and again, like I'm mentioning, the blue stitching actually makes it here as well. So overall, as soon as you step into the Nissan Altima SR, it makes it really feel like it is a more sportier car. It's definitely a big upgrade from the 2.5S in terms of performance and overall appeal of the car. So it is definitely more attractive. The interior, like center console, is actually quite similar. Technologies has not changed too much. Again, what is changed, of course, is sportiness. So we're taking a look at here on the side of the wheel. So you do have paddle shifters that again only come in on a 2.5 SR, 3.5 SR. So it is not available on the 2.5 models and the 4-cylinder models with an S, an SV, or an SL. This is actually specific only to the 2.5 SR models. Now, just to point out, the big attention to detail on the SR model, even stuff like the instrument panel actually offers the blue trim accents. So again, blue is a theme you're gonna notice in the 2.5 SR. So again, the speedometer and tachometer are actually outlined in a nice, really blue color. Now, features wise of the 2.5 SR, it actually does offer some technology differences from the 2.5 SV or 2.5S actually. So again, you do have one thing to notice that I didn't notice once we got inside of the vehicle is, of course, that you do have power seats on this car. So it's a 6-way power seat with power lumbar support. So again, that is available on the 2.5S, but with the package on the SR is actually standard. So there's no packages to option out for the power seating in the vehicle. And the leather wrapped steering wheel along with the USB and auxiliary. So the USB and auxiliary is actually available on the S as well. But something like the steering wheel here that actually feels a little bit nicer is again wrapped in leather. Again, it doesn't look as nice as a 2.5 SL steering wheel, obviously. I mean, shift knob, obviously, but it definitely increases the appeal of the vehicle. Now, again, you do have a backup camera as well. That is standard on the S. So once you upgrade to the SR, of course, you're gonna have a backup camera. You have Nissan Connect with applications, so you're going to be able to use apps with your car. So if you connect your phone, you can use stuff like Pandora, Facebook, iHeartRadio, directly on the car itself. So there's no, you don't have to worry about having to open up the app on your phone. You can actually do that directly from the vehicle itself. So again, more like convenience features. Of course, you do have Bluetooth audio with Bluetooth streaming, so of course you can connect your phone to the car, make phone calls, and of course play music through Bluetooth. So again, some of the same features that are on the 2.5S are actually making it here to the SR as well. Now, what is upgraded, of course, is the seat quality. Again, the tuning, the sport suspension, the drive wise. So again, it doesn't seem like a big technological upgrade, but what it is, of course, is just the fact that is more of the sporty vehicle. So as you can see right here, even pretty much everything that you can pay attention to the car is gonna have kind of like a sport theme. So again, this is unique only to the SR model. So just going over everything pretty quickly, and now we're gonna take a look at the back of the vehicle just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So again, the seats, the center console here where you can rest your hand. The passenger seat as well has blue stitching as all over the car. So again, improves the blue stitching. Well, of course, it just improves the appeal of the car, but the seats themselves are gonna improve the feel of it overall. So again, it's gonna hold you in place better than any of the other seats available in the models, aside from just looking nice and of course just looking at it, it's one of the more attractive seats that Nissan has in the car. Well, aside from like the Maxima and the Z seats. But we're gonna take this vehicle on a ride in just a little bit. We're just gonna go over the back and changes, and then we're gonna take this car on a quick test drive just so you see what has changed overall. So again, the vehicle, you're gonna notice, is gonna be a little bit quieter than the outgoing model, so not a lot of wind noise is gonna be making it through. But once you put it into a sport mode, you're gonna notice that more of the engine sounds come in, so actually makes it driving a little bit more aggressive and a whole lot nicer. So let's go ahead and move on to the back, take a quick look, and then go take this car on a test drive. Now coming around to the back, Nissan of course has not forgot about the rear passenger, so you still have nice soft touch materials here in the back. So the armrest itself is going to be leather here, soft touch on the sides there. Now again, here in the back of the vehicle, it's actually quite comfortable. So with the driver's seat set to a little bit more than what I'm actually required to drive with, I actually gave myself a lot of leg space this time. Coming around here to the back, I'm actually still very comfortable. So I'm about 6 feet in the car, so I definitely have a lot of leg room, pretty much almost like cross my legs and be comfortable at the same time. A lot of headroom. Actually, my head is not touching the ceiling, as you can probably see here from the rear mirror, probably not. But again, so the blue stitching, like I was mentioning earlier, is going to travel here to the back as well. I'm going to pull down here this little armrest, so you still have a double cup holder here in the back. Now what the SR adds, as the 2.5S does not have, is back seat pockets for the driver's side. Now it does have one on the passenger side on the S models, but on the 2.5 SR you actually have one also for the driver's seat. So again, it's little things here and there that add up and really make that 2.5 SR way better value than the 2.5S. So aside from of course performance and little things here and there, of course the appearance of it's actually kind of a big difference. So it's one of the most attractive vehicles in the Altima lineup. The 2.5 SR was pretty much evident here. So again, like I was mentioning earlier, the stitching and the leather. So here in the rear passenger seats, you can also see leather here at the top and leather here on the middle of the seat. So again, it's a little theme Nissan has going on. Of course, it doesn't do much, but it does make the vehicle feel a whole lot nicer. So it makes it feel more premium, look more premium, and it's definitely a welcome accent to the car. So even like the passenger here is going to have it. The driver has leather on the side. So again, it's those little touches that Nissan pays attention to that actually make a big difference on the SR model. So again, one of the more attractive looking models. Now let's go ahead and take it for a drive and see what has changed overall. Now, one more thing I quickly wanted to mention before we go on a test drive. Here in the trunk, you can see the space is obviously going to be about the same, so not too many changes here. Now, what is changing, as you can pay attention to, the carpet, and again, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Of course, it does have the blue stitching. Now, these carpets are specific only to the SR trim model, so it even says SR on it. Again, not a big deal, you know. Carpets, yeah, you can always replace them, or just maybe carpets isn't your thing. But again, just the little touches of that little attention that Nissan pays to details is evident even in stuff like the carpets. So let's go ahead and take it for a drive and take a look. So now we're going to be taking the car on a test drive. Before we start, one thing to note, again, this test drive is going to be from my perspective. I actually don't have someone with me this time, so the perspective might not be the best at all times, so just bear with me there. I'm gonna try my best to give you the best view of the driving, and you know, the best like just overall idea of what it feels like to drive the Altima. Now we're gonna have it in the sport mode again. This is the SR model, so it makes no sense to be driving it in the regular drive mode. So we're gonna really push the car, see how it handles, what it drives like. So again, pay attention to the way the vehicle sounds. Again, we have it in the sport mode. More of the engine sound is actually bleeding through to the inside, so it actually makes it sound really aggressive. Now power, you do notice here, so even handling through a turn and everything, it's actually fairly easy here on the SR. So again, the steering as I'm driving, it feels a little bit stiffer in comparison to the older models. Acceleration is definitely nice, and it actually picks up freeway speeds pretty quickly, as we can notice in here. So reach 60 and you know it didn't even make a difference. You know, it was so fast. Holds the RPMs up pretty high, as you can pretty much pay attention to there. Now coming back to the regular city streets, hey, it can be quiet when you need it to be. So now again, not a lot of the road noise again is bleeding through. So the engine actually has toned down a little bit more when you're not driving aggressively. Again, so one thing to actually pay attention to is that the SR, because it does have grippier tires, wider tires as well, and with the suspension differences that it has, and the overall tuning of the vehicle, it's not as great when it comes to gas mileage. So it's not an overall big substantial difference. So you're not going to go from 39 miles to the gallon on 2016 4-cylinder models to like 20, but you do drop a couple miles. So on the Nissan Altima SR, 4-cylinder is rated at about 37 miles to the gallon highway. So 2 miles difference. Again, it's not overall big change. You might not even notice it, but something to keep in mind, the SR is not as fuel efficient as some of the other models, but you know, it makes up for it in performance. So it performs the best out of all of the other models. So if you want to take it out on the track, you know, the Altima's not really meant for that. It's not a track car, but if you would notice actually it handles really great. Not bad at all, especially for a front wheel drive car. The 2.5 SR with the improvements that it has, you know, it's gonna definitely handle better than some of its competitors. So you can see it accelerates there pretty quickly. Now I can't use the paddle shifters right now, as it's obvious because I am holding a camera at the moment, but when it comes to the 3.5 SR video, I'll make sure to be able to show you how everything, you know, kind of flows together, with the paddle shifters, engines, transmission, just everything seems to be working in unison with the SR model. What is nice to notice is when we're driving is that hood, that bump in the hood that's changed for the 2016 SR. You can see it from the inside. So it's one little small thing, but again, it makes it look a little bit nicer when you're taking it for a test drive. I mean, or when you're driving it on a daily basis. That it gives it a very aggressive look on the car. Now I'm gonna show you how that looks in just a little bit. But again, I keep mentioning this, but little things Nissan does here and there end up making a big difference with the appeal of the car. So we're gonna do now. We're not gonna be flooring it, but just a quick acceleration. You can see gets to 40 actually fairly quickly. You can see how the RPMs and everything handles. So 60 and it's relatively pretty quick time. Again, not even flooring it all the way. So again, we're pressing the gas a little bit, and the Altima responds fairly quickly. And that bump I was mentioning earlier, you can see it there. So again, it's not a big selling feature. You're not going to buy the car just because it has a little bump there, but again, it just makes it look a whole lot nicer. It makes it look more aggressive, definitely sportier, and it feels like you're driving a different type of vehicle. Now, as far as aerodynamics, the aerodynamics on the 2016 Altima are actually the same. It actually has the same coefficient of drag as a GTR. So again, Nissan is using what it has learned and what it knows from some of its better performing cars, like cars in Infinity, to kind of influence the interior and exterior design. And it's using stuff that it knows from its own Nissan plant. Nissan part, and stuff from like the GTR, and actually incorporating it here in the Altima. So the coefficient of drag, same as the GTR. So I mean, that's not to say it's going to perform like a GTR, but just to attest how good Nissan has manufactured this new 2016 Altima to make it that fuel efficient. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the test drive there. You got a good idea of how much noise actually gets to the engine, gets to the inside, which is pretty much nothing. The overall ride is the Altima is actually relatively quiet unless you floor it or just press it like we do right now. So aside from that, again, that's a sound you would want to hear. But aside from that, the Altima is going to be relatively quiet. So again, that's going to wrap up our test drive right there. I hope you enjoyed the vehicle, and thank you for watching. So this has been your first look at the 2016 Nissan Altima SR.